The following broadcast is a presentation of iRacing Motorsport Simulations live on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our partners for their support.
He may get the run on the outside, off of the back straightaway. 26 at Hallmark, trying to go 3 wide, no one's going to let them.
Talking and bobbing and weaving down the back straightaway, looking for a way around. The 5 machine trying to take a look underneath the 3 car. He's going to dive in down to the bottom. A huge move down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Back bumper. Can anything happen through the tri-oval? Walker Thomas to the inside. Here he comes to the outside. Side by side through the tri-oval. The 14. It's going to be a photo finish to the line. Who's going to get it? Walker Thomas.
Machine coming out of turn number 4. Tiller looking to go 3 wide, almost 4 wide. He's going to try to look for a gap. Bobbing and weaving for the lead down through the tri-oval.
Photo finish.
2 by 2. The 65 gets the win. Hello and welcome, race fans, back to Primetime Racing TV on iRacing Live here tonight with the Hardline Racing League Fast Track Sims Cup Series from Chicagoland Speedway. And, well, Corey, we're here tonight at Chicagoland, and, you know, should be a really good show. In the booth tonight is myself and Corey Silva. Corey doubling as our tech producer every night. So, you know, Chicagoland known to put on some pretty good racing.
Yep, it is one of the better multi-groove tracks in the iRacing service. You will see drivers on the bottom once the run starts, but as it does progress, they will be moving all around the racetrack trying to find some grip, so that'll make it an interesting race. We are in the round of 8 in the Hardline Fast Track Sim Cup Series playoffs right now. This is the second of 3 rounds as we soon approach the end of the season and the Final Four finale at Homestead.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, these guys trying their best, the guys that are in the playoffs trying their best to stay in the playoffs and, you know, trying to get enough points locked themselves in. So these guys going through qualifying right now, about a minute left of that, and so far at the top of the charge is Nick Massey.
Yes, it is that 48 machine with the fast lap thus far, and the only driver in the 6/10 second threshold right now. But Ryan Hartz has yet to run a lap. He is a very fast driver. Not sure if he's going to start in the back, as is a couple other drivers that are going to be in this race that have yet to turn laps. So we will see how the lineup shakes out and give that to you momentarily.
It's like Briar LaPrade just chilling down there in the second position. Cole Bagunia, familiar face up that we normally see up front, back there in third. It's like Glenn Bowen out on the track turning one of his qualifying laps now, seeing if he can get a lap in. I don't think he'll have enough time. Only about 5 seconds left to qualify.
Yep, and that will wrap up the qualifying session. So Glenn Bowen will have to start at the tail end of the field because of that, and we will bring to you the PTR TV starting lineup here from the Chicagoland Speedway for the Fast Track Sims Cup Series by the Hardline Racing League live on iRacing Live. If that wasn't a mouthful, I don't know what is. On the pole here tonight is Nick Massey with his 30.639 second lap. We offer him our congratulations. Brian LaPrade to the outside of the front row. In position 3 is Cole Bagunia, and then we have Robert Kenny in 4th, Thomas Bressie 5th, Tyler Hensley in 6th, Frank Hartley Jr. in 7th, Cody Tabor in 8th, Chuck Sweeting in 9th, and then the top 10 rounding out with Shane Tarrant.
Starting 11th is going to be Glenn Bowen, 12th is Simon Thorns, 13th is Ryan Hartz, and rounding out the field in 14th is Jake Douglas.
All right, so a little bit of a smaller field than we're used to seeing here for these guys, but we should still see an exciting race from those who are in tonight's action. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in to PTR TV and on iRacing Live for tonight's broadcast.
These guys, the Hardline Racing League, getting on grid now. Pace car should be rolling off in just a matter of time here. And, you know, Chicagoland Speedway, not too many cars showing up tonight. A couple of guys saying that they really don't want to get in the way of the championship contenders, but still should be a really good show.
And we do have some real-world activity on, which may be kind of distracting some drivers, but obviously the hardcore ones have come out to play tonight. And the kind of the format that we race under with the Hardline Cup Series, it is a fixed setup league, 75% fuel load in these machines, no backup car, no fast repairs, if you want to call it that. And then we do have a green flag stage that will end on lap number 45 tonight.
Pace car rolls off a grid now. These guys get stacked up, doubled up, and go ready to get green flag racing here next time by Nick Massey. Sitting up here on pole. Good time from him, about a 10th faster than the 12 of Briar LaPrade.
This is a track, though, where tire wear is absolutely an important factor in the race, so he may be one that is quick on the short run but cannot sustain the long run. We will find that out the hard way. We will find that out in about a half lap when we get green flag racing.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, expect some of the guys that are at the tail end of this field to start saving tires right on lap 1, and you know, a couple faces I expect to see up front by the end of this thing. Thomas Bressie sitting back there, and I know Nick Massey can put on a show as well, Brian LaPrade, but these guys all ready to go racing. Some familiar faces up front. Cole Begunia chilling back there behind Nick Massey. Pace car will get ready to make that hard left turn down into the Chicagoland Speedway pit lane. This time by pace car now ducks off, waiting for the green flag. Nick Massey is on the throttle. We're underway at Chicagoland.
And the jump goes to the number 48 machine of Nick Massey on that start as he does clear for the lead, but Cole Begunia is behind him right to the back bumper. And in the high groove there is the number 12 of Brian LaPrade.
LaPrade up in the high lane right now, trying to get something done early. It looks like he'll have a head of steam heading down the back straightaway. Him and Begunia, a little bit of contact here on lap 1.
Hard-nosed racing by these drivers in the Hardline playoffs, but Begunia to the inside does clear the position of Brian LaPrade on the outside. The outside is not going to be right where you want it to be this early in the race.
These guys going to have to watch the tire wear, not try to push it too hard. Brian LaPrade maybe trying to push the issue down on the back bumper. Begunia maybe trying to get him to push a little bit harder now as they head out off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. It's 4 cars sitting in a line.
Yes, they are. They got to show some patience here because we do have a long race, and most likely it'll be a green flag race as LaPrade really trying to make that high groove work very early in the race, the only one to do so.
Heading down the front straightaway now. Nick Massey still holding a steady lead, but looks like Cole Begunia, one of the only cars able to really stick with him now. Brian LaPrade, Thomas Bresci, maybe going to battle out behind them as they head down the back straightaway.
We do have a battle that is going on for the 5th and 6th position as Tyler Hensley trying to take the 5th spot away in turn number 3 from Robert Kenny. Kenny still trying to fight in that second groove, and he will not do so. Rather, Hensley will clear. And we'll go a little bit further back. We have a nearly 3-wide battle going on. Frank Hartley Jr., Shane Tarrant, and the 26 of Chuck Sweeting.
Shane Tarrant back there, we know he's fast on a weekly basis. Frank Hartley Jr. back there, Chuck Sweeting. We know how fast Chuck Sweeting can be as well. Looks like those guys going to battle it out still between Sweeting and Hartley Jr. Now Shane Tarrant prevails out of those 3, and Chuck Sweeting will pass up Frank Hartley Jr.
Yeah, move Hartley back to the 9th position. Then we'll go a little bit further back, a little bit battling going on with Glenn Bowen, Cody Tabor. This is for 9th and 10th on the track. And we have Simon Thorns riding around in the 12th spot at the back of this pack, doing his best that he can. But we'll go back to the front of the field where the top 4 are still nose to tail within very close quarters racing.
Heading down through turns 3 and 4 now. Nick Massey kind of pulled out ahead of this thing. Cole Begunia fell back a little bit, but these guys for a mile-and-a-half racetrack still relatively close to each other now. And I wouldn't count any of these guys out. It's just kind of maybe riding until the first round of pit stops.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to figure out what this track will do on the long run when the iRacing dynamic track model starts to really come in, and we see what this rubber and heat will do to the handling of these cars.
These guys heading down through the corner, and what do you expect the race car to do throughout the run, Corey? I expect it maybe to get a little bit snappy loose on exit.
I would expect it more to, I mean, from my knowledge, I think it's going to be, as you said, a little tight on exit, and I do expect it to get, I'll take that back, loose on exit and tight in the center is my assumption. That will make you want to go up the track, find that cooler track, find that extra grip.
Yeah, absolutely, and well, Nick Massey, I'm noticing already running about a half a lane higher to see if it's a consistent thing, or maybe, you know, maybe it's just for that corner. We're going to see down here in turn number 1. Looks like he is maybe running a little bit higher.
Yeah, LaPrade most certainly is. At the second lane, you can see Bresci trying to cut low on corner exit, but we do have quite the battle going on for about 5th through 7th position. Tyler Hensley is leading this trio, but Shane Tarrant, always at the front of these races, has won a lot recently in Hardline. He is moving up through the field to the 6th position, trying to get Hensley for 5th.
Back there now, looks like Tyler Hensley and Shane Tarrant battling it out. Shane Tarrant started towards the end of this field, now trying to make his way back up front.
Yeah, Tarrant making the inside work, and as the run progresses, I expect that outside to come in and be more favorable. Big wiggle by Tarrant off turn number 2. He will lose his momentum and have to pull back in line.
Yeah, it's not gonna give. He's not gonna give up yet, though, Corey. And he lost a little bit of ground there. I expect him to come back up through and try to take that position away from Hensley once again.
Yeah, he definitely has the car, but he's going to have to do some planning to find where on the track he's going to have to run to make the time he needs to pass, because running the inside, you're just not going to have the momentum there, especially on corner exit.
Yeah, absolutely, and he comes back up to the back bumper at Hensley once again. He's running a little bit higher of a line on corner entry, trying to get that run off, dives it down in. Now looking to the outside, they're going to be side by side down the front straightaway.
This is where he needs to be. He needs to be on the outside, so he has what should be the preferred line, and it looks like Hensley will just back off and give him the position, but no, he will not. He's going to dive on the inside, try to stay side by side, but he will not be able to make the run happen on the inside. He will fall back.
No, Hensley drifted up the racetrack just a little bit of loosey-goosey there on corner exit, maybe trying to put a lot of wheel into it. Now Robert Kenny coming up on the back bumper at Hensley, but Hensley's going to try to take another stab at Taryn on the low side.
Yes, he is. He drove it in a little bit deep there, and that's going to give him the compromised corner exit. Taryn's going to pull away, and it looks like Kenny may get to the outside here. Not quite. Actually, he's going to dive to the inside.
Four-car battle back here right now. Now Chuck Sweeting trying to get a piece of the action as well. He's back there.
Sweeting also one of the guys who is very quick in this series. You see him in the top 5 rather often with good qualifying efforts. Didn't happen today. He's going to have to work his way through the field in 8th position, and he's all over the back of the 10 machine.
Yeah, absolutely. Him and Robert Kenny maybe going to battle it out now. Robert Kenny trying to defend that 7th position. He could have a good top 10 for him today.
As we get kind of focused back on the leaders just for a moment here, you can see that Nick Massey has still only pulled out by about 2/10 over Cole Begunia at the moment, so the battle up front is still very close. One mistake will cost the lead, but right now it seems Massey is running a very consistent line.
Yeah, absolutely is. Nick Massey, one of the more consistent drivers in this series we've seen over the last couple of weeks, and you know, he's showing really good effort, but it looks like Cole Begunia maybe gaining a little bit of time there on corner entry. Nick Massey going to pull away just a little bit now on corner exit.
Yeah, you can see still these drivers choosing to run the bottom of the speedway. A lot of other drivers have moved up to the 2nd and 3rd lane, but these 2 leaders still choosing to run very near the white line. You can go on board here with Begunia and see what he's doing. They're not choosing to run the apron in the tri-oval, which by a lot of drivers is normal line.
Yeah, absolutely, but we know that transition back up onto the racetrack can wear those tires down, Corey. As Begunia, big wiggle down off of turn number 2 that time, but you know, anything these guys can do to preserve tires now.
Yeah, at this point, these cars are losing their traction. It is becoming a lot harder to make them circle around the speedway at high speed, so they're going to have to really use the throttle, use the input, use the different lines to find the fast lap times.
These guys only on lap 16 of 133. And again, this is a playoff race for these guys here tonight.
Still a battle going on. Chuck Sweeting and Robert Kenny off turn number 2. Kenny was to the outside, Sweeting all the way to the wall, but looks like Sweeting will take the position, move into the 7th spot.
Chuck Sweeting trying to make his way up through the pack. It looks like he might be struggling just a little bit here tonight. We see that he's in a Chevrolet tonight. I know he's not normally in a Chevrolet, so maybe trying to get used to the car, probably just a one-time thing, I would assume.
I mean, there's no issues with that in my book. I mean, we all know my my slight bias there with manufacturers. Begunia still preying on the back bumper of Massey here. The gap still is pretty much the same. If anything, Cole's actually gotten a little bit closer, got a lot of bit closer off turn number 4 that time, 8 into that gap just a bit as he will enter turn number 1. Let's see if he does run the bottom, and he does. But look at Massey washing up the track into the 2nd groove.
Yeah, Begunia right to the back bumper. Now maybe gonna look underneath. Now Begunia getting a little bit loose down off of turn number 2. He's gonna hang on to the back bumper. Now down through turn number 3. Begunia power move down to the bottom. Drifts off the racetrack. Not gonna work.
Yeah, he dove it in there on the bottom, and obviously with the tire wear, he slid up the track. Luckily, Maxey was able to react to it and gave him the space he needed to avoid a wreck.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to allow Nick Massey to pull away just a little bit more now, and now Begunia is going to have to try to play catch again. Nick Massey drifted up the racetrack just a little bit more. It allows Begunia to catch back up.
Nearly into the wall there on the back straightaway was the 48 machine, kind of trying to get too much of an arc there. Nearly scraped the barrier, but did manage to stay off of it, still holding the lead. You can see he's very big wiggle from Begunia off turn number 4.
You really see the handling of these race cars go away now on lap 20, Corey. And it's going to be a big factor in tonight's race. And, you know, that may be one of the only reasons why we would get a yellow flag here tonight. Is, I see this thing going green, but if a car spins out of the racetrack, it can bring a yellow.
Yeah.
And Begunia flashing in and out, possible internet issues. That could be big.
Yeah, that is definitely not what you need. We've kind of lost. He's, for those unaware with sim racing, maybe watching on behalf of somebody else. We do obviously a race on the internet. There is issues, obviously. The internet is not a perfect system, so there is going to be some loss of data. That is what's going on with Begunia. The iRacing is losing data of his car momentarily, causing that sporadic behavior. Hopefully it does clear up, and we do not lose him on the racetrack.
So he's fallen off the pace a little bit, maybe trying to sort that out. Nick Massey pulling out in front now.
But we do want to, let's go kind of avoid that visual just for a moment. We'll go focus on other battles on the track. We do have Bressie in 4th and LaPrade in 3rd. Bressie kind of stalled out just a little bit at the moment, as is LaPrade. Expect those drivers to run a little bit closer to the leaders, but they're kind of in their own little bubble in 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, absolutely, and I don't know, you know, they may be just trying to conserve their stuff right now, and you know, very possible that they're trying to save tires, maybe, you know, enough that they can stay out a little bit longer. I don't know what the fuel is going to be like tonight, or how long these guys can go.
Excuse me, right. Bressie got a heck of a run off turn number 4, got directly to the back bumper of LaPrade, and actually has a little bit of a run. He's going to try to pull low off turn number 2 down the back straightaway. He's at the left rear quarter panel, is trying to side draft alongside door to door, is not able to get there, but he will dive it to the bottom in turn number 3. We'll see if he can make that bottom line work.
Brian LaPrade going to have a good run down off of turn number 4. Going to be able to clear Bressie once again. Valiant attempts by Thomas Bressie to try to get around Brian LaPrade that time by. Not going to happen, though.
Yeah, he's going to have to figure something out. He does have Cody Tabor behind him, I do believe. Cody Tabor has already pitted, so he is off the pace on newer tires at the moment. And Brandon, I know we talked about it earlier with the fuel load, and we talked about with the tire fall off here at Chicagoland Speedway. I know we hate kind of guessing because we're always wrong, but pit strategy is going to be coming into the mix pretty soon, I'd have to imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, it'll be interesting. We see a lot of short pitting in this league. That's because, you know, tires, you lose so much time on old tires, and I wouldn't expect any difference here tonight.
Yeah, we can tell you based on their best laps of the race that, for example, our leader, Nick Massey, his best lap of the race was a 31 flat. He nearly ran a 33, 2 seconds off the pace. So that is a significant amount of time on the track. So short pitting definitely has its pros and cons, but here comes a battle. Chuck Sweeting trying to get into the 5th position, trying to make a move on Shane Tarrant, does so successfully.
So move him up another position. Chuck Sweeting trying to make his way up through the field.
Oh, big wiggle. Shane Tarrant off turn number 2 manages to save it, but he lost a ton of speed and a ton of time. Let's go on replay and see what happened to Tarrant.
Shane Tarrant going to keep it clean and green right now.
See, he's running the top of the raceway and just flat just lost it off turn number 2. Did a good job saving it. No yellow. He did not lose too much control of the car, but did lose a ton of time, and you can see how much time he has lost off Chuck Sweeting. And we have Thomas Bressie. He has again gotten side by side with LaPrade. We're entering turn number 3. Bressie on the inside. We know how difficult it is to hold the line down there. And he has held the position, but not held the speed. Big wiggle, he will fall back in line.
Thomas Bressi maybe going to take another stab at getting around Briar Laprade. Maybe doing a little bit of blocking. Here comes Cody Tabor around the outside, possibly on fresher tires here.
Yes, yes, Brandon, he is. Cody Tabor pitted 6 laps ago compared to these drivers who have been out since the green flag. So we will see how this carries on for everybody in terms of pit strategy. I would not be surprised to see people on pit road around lap 30. We're going to have to start discussing how many stops this race is going to be, and some people, oh, Cole Bagunia already to pit lane.
So that's probably going to drag a couple more guys down. Wouldn't be surprised to see Nick Massey in this time by.
Because remember, as I said, these drivers have already dropped off 2 seconds from their best lap times at the start of the race. So the sooner you pit, the sooner you can take advantage of those fresher tires. But here comes, oh, Massey stays on the track. But it all depends.
Now, sorry to cut you off, Corey, but Nick Massey, we've seen this week after week, one of those guys that will stay out for as long as he possibly can.
Yes, he has most certainly done that, Brandon. He stays on the track till the last possible moment. And in a race like this, where we're expecting it to go green for a good amount of time, you may be able to cut out a pit stop if you maybe even go 10 laps sooner, well, 10 laps later in your runs rather. So that could be a strategy he employs, as Glenn Bowen nearly missed the entry of pit lane there. I think he actually did some significant left front damage to that number 70 machine on pit lane, but he may be, Massey rather, he may be thinking of a long-term strategy for the remainder of this race. We don't know. We'll have to see when he does pit and how that plays out over the course of a whole green flag run.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be exciting to see when he is able to come to pit lane. And, you know, we've seen him come out or stay out on the racetrack till the very last drop of fuel in the tank. So, you know, it should be interesting. And, you know, these guys still cycling through pit stops.
Yeah, Frank Hartley Jr. in the pit lane, and here comes the battle yet again between Laprade and Bressi. Bressi is still trying to find a way by. Laprade has yet to do so. Coming off turn number 2, he did have a run for a moment to the inside, but as we've seen, he's been unable to do anything with that inside lane.
Yeah, the inside just doesn't seem to really work there, Corey.
And Bressi is going to come to the attention of his pit crew here.
Yeah, there goes Thomas Bressi.
So this will, and we're going to have to follow this. Tyler Hensley also behind him on pit lane. Right now, Cole Bagunia is coming off of turn number 2 right now. He's 1 lap down. Massey is in turn number 3. So at the current rate, Bagunia is going to unlap himself maybe in 3 to 4 laps. And then after that, he's going to be on the same lap. So if a caution does come out, Massey's advantage is pretty much gone. But again, we have to think long term. If this goes green all the way, Massey might be up to something.
Yeah, absolutely. And if he can cut out that pit stop, that would be huge. In my racing experience, I remember I did a race at Charlotte, and I did that exact same thing. I stayed out, and it was actually a race similarly distanced to this. I stayed up an extra 12 laps on my run, and over the course of the entire race, cut out a pit stop, and I ended up winning it versus the guys who made the extra one. So it most certainly is possible, but you're going to have to stick to it and not get too caught up in those faster guys passing you. And here he comes. This is Bagunia coming to unlap himself right now. But this is not something that if Massey's on the long-term strategy, he can't get that in his head. He knows he's going to lose the time. He knows he's slower, but it's about the end of the race, not the moment we're on right now. Yeah, absolutely. And but that's going to be huge if Nick Massey is not able to cut out that one pit stop, and you know that would be the race lost.
Briar Laprade is now exiting the pit, so he has just came to pit road. Bressi, as we know, already has pitted, and look at that. Bressi, pitting a couple laps earlier, has managed to finally pass Tyler Hensley and has a pretty good margin on him, as Bressie goes and passes Simon Thorns in 3 and 4. Thorns is off the pace by 2 laps at the moment.
I would like to point out Robert Kenny spun at the entrance of pit lane. No caution, but he probably will have to serve a penalty for that, missing the commitment cone.
Yeah, he's already had an extended stay in the pit lane compared to the other drivers, so that would indicate there was a penalty, so that will be catastrophic for him under this green flag race we are on. But only driver on the speedway that has yet to make a pit stop is your leader of Nick Massey. He is on the racetrack for 37 now, taking 38 laps. And we'll bring up the primetime battle tracker, and you can see indeed what he is losing. He ran a 33.2 to Cole Bagunia's 31.8. That is 1.4 seconds. Actually not as bad as I thought it was, but still that is a lot of time to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, whatever he can do to maybe cut out that pit stop. But at this rate, Corey, you know, pit stops, they take, you know, probably between 12, 13, 14 seconds, plus the time it takes to get down pit road.
Yeah, you're on pit road, Brandon, based on the graphics that I have. Pit road is about a 40-second endeavor. So at this point where he's 27 seconds off the pace, well, 27 seconds ahead, mind you, he would be about 15 seconds behind Bagunia after his pit stop. And then you have to remember he's going to have better tires. He's going to eat into that gap. But it's going to be almost impossible to follow bid race. It's all going to matter with about 20 laps to go. We'll kind of be able to see if it's going to work for either driver.
Yeah, and, you know, Nick Massey not in the playoffs really has nothing to lose here. So him trying different strategies to maybe implement next season as we are towards the end of the season, Corey, at these different racetracks could be huge.
Yeah, most certainly can. Here he comes on lap number 40. This is exactly what I expected him to do. Very conservative entry. Do not want to blow that and get a speeding penalty, but Nick Massey to pit road, and he will have 11 laps fresher tires than Cole Bagunia. So that is going to be a very interesting shuffle on how it shakes back out in the grand scheme of things.
Absolutely. So, yeah, Nick Massey finally making his way down to pit road. That should hand the lead over to Cole Bagunia next time by.
Yeah, and most certainly does, as Bagunia is in the lead spot, still having a little bit of connectivity issues there. So we still hope that clears up. But he does enjoy, make sure I got this right, about a 7.5 second lead he has over Thomas Bressie at this point. Bressie all the way in the middle of the back straightaway. Remember, Kenny is not on the lead. Kenny is not a battle for position. Remember, he did have a penalty. We have Ryla Pratt in third, who is almost 9.5 seconds off the lead. Tyler Hensley is in fourth, 11 seconds off the lead. And then we go back to Chuck Sweeting, who's 15 seconds off the lead. All the way back to Nick Massey, who's just now crossing the stripe, 17.5 seconds back. Massey's entering turn number 1, and Bagunia is in 3 and 4, so a half lap behind.
Yeah, so a lot of time lost there for sure.
But we'll look at the lap times, because that is the ultimate factor. Last time by, a 32.3 for Bagunia compared to Nick Massey. We have to wait for him to cross the stripe, which he still has yet to do. That is the deficit. Massey about to cross the stripe and runs a 31 flat. So that was 1.3 seconds he ate to that lead just in one lap. So he should, if the trend continues, be able to catch Bagunia on pure speed and maybe even pass him before Bagunia makes his next stop. And then we carry through with the alternating cycle yet again. And we'll see how it shakes out after a couple more green flag cycles. But now that we have a little bit of a gap in the action in between the green flag pit stop, we're going to go to a quick side-by-side commercial break. We'll be right back with you for more racing on PTR TV on iRacing Live. Stay with us.
Red Bull GRC is now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible, and I really think you guys are going to love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
And we're back here on PTR TV on iRacing Live for tonight's coverage of the Hardline Racing Cup Series playoffs by Fast Track Sims, round of 8, round number 2 at Chicagoland. We are on lap number 51 here. After a cycle of green flag pit stops has concluded, Cole Begunia is your leader at this point by 5.5 seconds. But remember, Nick Massey was leading the opening 40 or so laps of the race, but is on an alternating pit strategy. He is now what was 15 seconds off the lead, now only 7.
Yeah, and Corey, one thing I'm noticing, maybe add to the drama a little bit, it looks like Cole Begunia is still having some pretty major connection issues here to the server, you know, internet-wise. So if he drops out, that's a race thrown away.
Yeah, he seems to be stable enough that I'm not too worried about him dropping out, but it is definitely, if there is a tight battle for the win at the end of the race, it is going to kind of be a little bit sketchy for both drivers involved because they will not have confidence in each other's race vehicles. But we are on lap number 52, taking number 53, approaching the halfway point. Let's give you a quick through the field. Cole Begunia is your leader in the first position right now, entering turn number 1 and 2. Briar LaPrade in second. We have Thomas Bresci in third, and not for much longer as Nick Massey is in third now. Move Bresci back to 4th. Tyler Hensley in the 5th spot. We have Chuck Sweeting in the 6th position. Robert Kenny running in 7th. Simon Thorns back in 8th position. Kenny, by the way, is the first car 1 lap down. Frank Hartley Jr. running in the 9th position. And then we have Cody Tabor, the league admin, running in 10th. And the last car on the track right now is Glenn Bowen in the 70 in the 11th spot. We didn't catch it, but Shane Tarrant has dropped out of the race. Tarrant, also remember, he is very competitive driver in the league, so that is a pretty big hit for him to drop out of the race.
Yeah, absolutely, and he did have a pretty fast race car, so it makes me curious what actually happened.
Yeah, we'll see if we can research that situation, but remember, and we just talked about it, but we'll bring it up again. Massey, after his stop, he was 17 seconds back of Begunia after his pit stop. He is now 4, and that is all in 14 laps. That is the difference in the tire strategy. And also, Begunia pitted about lap number 28 to 30. That's coming up for him, so we should see if he's going to stay on that same pace. Begunia should be on pit road relatively shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. So coming down to the end of this thing, it'll be really, really interesting. The race is 133 laps long, so, you know, plenty of time to work out your strategy here. And, well, Nick Massey, he's fully committed at this point.
Yeah, I think at this point, from both sides, actually, Begunia kind of has a little bit of a way out right now. Actually, I'm going to take that back for that matter. I think everyone's kind of made their bed right now, because if Begunia pits right now, actually, Begunia, he can't pit when Massey pits because he's going to lose the lead. He's going to lose so much time. Begunia kind of has to pit. And then Massey, I mean, he could kind of go either way at this point. He's close enough to Begunia that if he really wants to alter it and go on Begunia's strategy, he kind of has that option. He kind of has that option right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, very good point, Corey. Could hurt you if you decide to do that in the long run, but yeah, I do have to agree that these guys have pretty much made their beds.
Yeah, right now, Begunia has dropped off to about a 33 flat. Massey is still running half a second faster. He's 2.5 seconds behind Begunia at this point. So really, if he, like I said, if he wanted to, he could get away quite easily with pitting right now and just kind of morphing on the Begunia strategy. But he has his own strategy, which is seeming to be more and more like the correct one in the end, but still a lot of racing left to go.
Yeah, and you know, Nick Massey has come to surprise us already a few times this season with his strategies, and you know, so far they've worked out pretty well for him. So we'll just have to play it by ear and see how this one goes tonight.
Frank Hartley Jr. exit pit road, and forgot to do it earlier, but want to make sure that it most certainly is given out. The shout out to our cameras for tonight, Track Cam 4 Gourmets. If you like the views for tonight's broadcast here on iRacing Live, make sure you check out Track Cams 4 Gourmets. Check them out at trackcams22.com or facebook.com/trackcams. Give a shout out to Estevan, and if you like what you see, maybe you can talk to him and enjoy the same views we have tonight. I'll just definitely give him credit for the amazing work he's done. We have gotten tons of compliments on our camera angles, and all credit does go to him for that.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, also want to give a shout out to all of our fans here on PTR TV. Also, if you're joining us from iRacing Live, thank you for coming out here tonight. Be sure, if you like our content, to like and subscribe. We always appreciate it, and you know, we kind of have a goal set for the end of the year this year, and it would be awesome if we could hit it. So all the support is greatly appreciated.
Most certainly, Brandon. Something that I was not expecting to see, but I did indeed see it, is that Begunia actually got loose at the end of the trioval here, but you can see in the picture here that 7 machine has a 48 well growing in his rearview mirror. We're going to have a battle for the lead. Well, I'm going to say this lap.
Yeah, absolutely. I really didn't expect to see this either, but Nick Massey pulling up to Cole Begunia, obviously got way fresher tires, but he really closed that gap.
This is
now up to the back bumper.
Brandon, this is 12 laps fresher tires. He gained 17 seconds of a deficit. 17 seconds as Glenn Bowen pulls behind the wall for the race. But here comes Massey to the outside, and Begunia is stretching this run. He pitted lap 30 first time by. He's on lap number 34 in his stint right now. He's not going to be able to pull as long of a stint, though, as Massey, who has at least 20 laps more in the tank, I'm assuming. But here comes Massey to the inside in that number 48 Lowe's Pros machine, taking it into turn number 3 and retaking the lead.
Yeah, unbelievable. That's I didn't expect to see Massey up there at all. And now that Massey is by, I would expect Cole Begunia to pit very shortly and you know, try to get on those fresher tires. But Nick Massey, he stays out another time and eliminates yet another pit stop. He can be sitting really good for himself.
Yeah, at this point, Brandon, Begunia's his wild card is the fresher tires. He is using the tires to his advantage. Massey is using the less pit stop. So where Massey's tires, Begunia's tire advantage is over with. I really don't see why he's still on the speedway right now losing the time, knowing that he needs the extra stop, unless he's trying to slowly morph himself onto Massey's strategy and stretching out the runs.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to see him doing that successfully, however, because he still needs to pit before Massey, and at that point, Massey has got an even bigger advantage. Just, I mean, look at the gap already, Corey. It's unbelievable. Nick Massey, let me tell you what, I've said it before already tonight, he surprises us with his strategies every week, and this week is no exception. He just said it a little bit earlier. Yeah,
sometimes we're kind of wondering why he's doing what he's doing, but there are times like this when it actually comes to his benefit, as Briar LaPrade in the number 12 machine has entered the pit lane right now. He is on a similar strategy, I believe, to what Bagunia's on. I do believe they are affiliated drivers, so that might cue the 7 into pit road this time by.
So Nick Massey, by just the next couple of laps.
And here comes Bagunia.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bagunia losing a lot of time. He would have had to have a straightaway advantage on him this time by, but Cole Bagunia making his way in. Nick Massey still has a few more laps.
Bressie in the 24 comes to pit lane right now, so cars on the circuit that still have yet to pit. Nick Massey, who is on the alternate strategy. Chuck Sweeting, who is pretty much on the same strategy Bagunia was on. He is in second, and then we have Robert Kenny, who's yet to pit, but he is off the lead lap, as well as Simon Thorns.
Frank Harley Jr. now taking his car behind the wall.
The field is shrinking, only 9 cars left on the track, but we do have a lot of drama going on with the pit strategy. Most certainly an interesting race here to watch here for the Hardline Cup Series. Massey is the leader at this point as he is on the back straightaway. Sweeting in second is on the pit lane right now, getting his service. Bagunia is entering turn number 3, 1 lap down, and Massey at the stripe, so Bagunia has to gain about a third of a lap to get back onto the lead lap, and then he needs to hustle to gain as much time as he can before Massey pits.
Man, oh man, Corey, let me tell you, this is going to be really good at the end of this race, but right now, these drivers need to focus on now, and right now, I'd say that with Bagunia staying out, it really hurt him.
Yeah, he needed to, and I think, as I kind of mentioned with Massey earlier in the race, you have to stick to your strategy. You get a little bit sometimes a little nervous when you see faster guys on fresher tires getting by you who are on alternate strategies. You have to stick to your strategy. Don't get suckered into falling for somebody else, and I think Bagunia kind of got trapped in that. I think he got a little nervous, tried to stretch the tires out, but that wasn't what his strategy was, and it came back to bite him.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree 100% with that statement. And Nick Massey, well, he's holding to his guns now, and he's definitely made his bet at this point, but I think it could definitely work for him.
Yeah, but Bagunia right now on the racetrack as is entering turn number 1. Nick Massey is exiting turn number 2, so Bagunia is at the moment about 2 seconds faster, so he will eliminate that gap in no time at all. We would expect Massey to come in around lap number 40 if all stays true, but that would not. Oh, I'm going to take that back. Here he comes to pit road on lap number 71.
Nick Massey, very conservative entry once again,
and
not going to take any chances.
And I think, Brandon, this is because, and I was just about to say this, there's about 62 laps to go in this race, so if he was to stretch it, he still was going to most likely need another pit stop anyways. So I think at this point, very quick thinking by Massey, he's probably going to go about to lap number 100 and do 2 30-lap stints to the end.
Yeah, absolutely, and if that is his plan, very good strategy from him. Cole Bagunia coming down the front stretch now. So
we'll see how this plays out, because it looks like, I mean, I'm kind of thinking about it now the more I just said what I said, that I think everyone who is going to pretty much come together to almost be on the same kind of strategy, because right now everyone's pitted within 5 laps of each other, so everyone's pretty much in the same boat in terms of they're going to need one more stop regardless. It's just going to be of who pits on what lap and what kind of advantage is there once it's all said and done.
Yeah, so Nick Massey falling back just a little bit now, but no doubt he'll make that up on the fresher tires. Cole Bagunia sitting out there in front spot right now.
Big wiggle from Briar LaPrade in the number 12 machine off turn number 2. Well, he is on new tires too, so that's kind of an unexpected thing to see.
Briar LaPrade maybe trying to push the issue a little bit, make up a little bit of ground of what he's lost earlier in this race, and you know, he really has to be careful of those tires if he's going to stay where he is.
I think we have a battle for position going on. Oh, actually, no, we do not. That is Nick Massey passing. Actually, no, I take that back. That was a battle for position. Excuse me. Massey did pass Thomas Bresci to go into the 3rd position. Remember, there's fresher tires by about 5 laps on Massey. And I'll tell you, Massey has a 6.5 second gap he needs to eliminate right now, and he is try to get some lap times. Actually, I don't have lap times with Begunia's connectivity issues. It's kind of throwing off the lap time data, so I don't know what the exact speed difference is. But I can tell you Massey chopped off a 1/2 second.
So Nick Massey trying to make his way back up front now. He's very quickly catching the 12 machine of Briar LaPrade now. Still about 3/4 of a straightaway difference, but Nick Massey trying to chop that off.
Yes, he is, and we're going to take this opportunity to crank the engine sounds up so let you feel the thunder here on BTR TV. Alright, hope you enjoyed that little segment that we introduced a little bit, well, pretty recently to the channel, but here comes Nick Massey yet again, getting into the 2nd spot as he passes Briar LaPrade off turn number 2.
So Nick Massey, he was about a straightaway back just a couple of laps ago, Corey, and now passing for that 2nd position. And, well, Cole Begunia, he's not too far ahead.
The gap last check about 5 minutes ago was 6.5 seconds. Now it is under 4. So Massey is most certainly cutting into the gap. We can tell you last time by, we do have some accurate lap times to share with you. And actually on that graphic we don't. But last time by, Massey was the only driver in the 31-second bracket. So he is obviously using those 5-lap fresher tires to his advantage right now, cutting into the gap that is now only a hair over 3 seconds.
And let us emphasize that. 5 laps fresher tires. And look at how fast he is closing this gap, Corey.
Yeah, Chicagoland in the iRacing world and in the real world, we have an accurate depiction here in terms of the repaved state, because Chicagoland is on its original pavement. Chicagoland is on the pavement that it has, well, that it was given on its original debut in 2001 to the, at the time, Winston Cup Series. So 18 years of wear on this pavement. It is extremely bumpy, extremely abrasive, which leads to the multi-groove racing and, as we see, the extreme tire fall off.
Absolutely, and
what would you do with what would you do with all my track statistician facts that I seem to memorize?
Well, it wouldn't be as interesting, that's for sure, because I wouldn't have known how old the pavement is here, because to be honest, I didn't really pay attention to that.
Well, I think you were, what, 1 year old when this track came out? So
yes, I was 1.
2001, this track debuted on the I think I'm still supposed to call it the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series schedule. I think we backdated all the way to the beginning of time, so we'll call it that. But yep, Chicagoland Speedway debuted at the same time as Kansas Speedway in 2001 as we as the schedule expanded for that season. 2001, obviously, it was a very big year in the real world, and a lot going on in the real world, a lot going on in the NASCAR world. So, but as we kind of get off topic there, Chicago obviously is a tire abrasive track, which is helping Massey to eliminate this gap now down to 1.5 seconds.
So Nick Massey really cutting away at that, and again, this is only 5 laps of fresher tires, and unbelievable the difference. We stated probably about 2 seconds a lap quicker it was before.
Now, I'm hoping that we can get accurate lap times this time by. Remember, Begunia's connection is kind of throwing off the data just a little bit. Apologize. We do have accurate laps this time by. 0.6 faster for the number 48 machine. Now, some of it is obviously tires. A lot of it is tires, but I wonder how much of it is just the fact that Massey may just be the faster car tonight.
Yeah, Nick Massey showing speed in qualifying. For sure, he was about a 1/10 faster, and now with him being on fresher tires as well, that most definitely helps.
And the pit window, Brandon, I'm assuming to be about 40 laps will open the pit window for final stops, which will be on lap number 93. So we may see some drivers try to go on pit road. That may pull some other ones onto pit road with it, so that'll be a lap to focus on. As here comes Massey off turn number 2, and here is the battle.
Heading down into turn number 3, this time by the 48, getting larger in the mirror of the 7 machine. Nick Massey right behind Cole Begunia. Now Nick Massey, the 48 machine, Cole Begunia, the 7. Nick Massey trying to look for a way around down the front straightaway.
Right to the back bumper. Where will he go? High or low? He's going to take it into the same exact groove, as a matter of fact, as Cole Begunia. But here he comes with the arc off turn number 2. He's able to cut that car to the inside, pull side by side, door to door down the back straightaway.
Side by side, heading down the back straightaway now. Now power move down to the out of the racetrack goes the 48. Now inches ahead of the 7 machine. That's going to be for the lead.
Off turn number 4 for lap number 86 to be completed. Lap number 87 on the board, and Nick Massey back in a familiar position in the lead. He has led, that'll be his 50th lap of the night. He was the pole sitter, has dominated this race, and we will just have to see if the final pit strategy will stay on his side.
Well, so far, so good for the 48 machine and Nick Massey. Cole Begunia gonna have to make his pit stop soon once again. We're expecting the 48 machine to go to about lap 100.
Yeah, 100 be closer to the 30 lap pit window, but 40 laps would be the definite window that we know these drivers can run. And we just kind of recap who is still in what position here, as we only have 9 drivers on the circuit right now. Massey has retaken the lead. Cole Begunia is in second. Brian LaPrade 7.5 seconds back in third. Thomas Bressi is right behind him in the 4th position. That is a battle that may be coming present, as a big wiggle from LaPrade there off turn number 4. Turn number 2 rather. Sweeting in the 5th spot. Chuck Sweeting. Tyler Hensley running in 6th. Robert Kenny in 7th. Kenny is the first driver off of the lead lap. Simon Thorne's 3 laps down in the 8th position. Then Cody Tabor still chugging along. Actually, he is no longer chugging along. He is in the pits right now in the 9th position. And then Frank Hartley Jr. has exited the race, as has Glenn Bowen and Shane Tarrant.
Battle heating up between Thomas Bressi and Briar LaPrade. They're going to be side by side. Briar LaPrade has the run down off the corner, heading down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Bressi had a little bit of a look off turn number 2, but nothing was doing. Here comes LaPrade running the 3rd groove as Bressi hugs the white line through 3 and 4. Closes and eliminates the gap, as Bressi will close on the front straightaway. We'll see what he does in 1 and 2.
Thomas Bressi, the low line just does not work here, and now Thomas Bressi gonna try the low line once again, maybe a little bit further up. Looks like he's starting to have some connection issues as well.
And don't look now, there's a number 26 black Chevy SS in the rearview mirror. That is Chuck Sweeting, who is trying to close on this battle, will be for 3rd position. Big wiggle from Bressi off turn number 4, loses some time.
Man, oh man, he just lost a lot of ground down off of turn number 4 that time by. He's gonna have to play catch up to the 12 machine of LaPrade, but don't look now. Here comes the 26 up to the back bumper to the 24 now.
He's brought back some memories for me, Brandon. Classic Benny Parsons. Man, oh man. But yes, indeed, Chuck Sweeting has closed on Thomas Bressi as he's trying to make something happen, maybe get a top 3 out of tonight's action, as Chuck Sweeting runs the low line and is only about a 1/4 of a second behind Bressi, who is trying to get a 2nd surge at Brian LaPrade. Remember, they have been battling this entire race.
Yeah, Thomas Bressi, Briar LaPrat, now Chuck Sweeting getting in on the action. It's going to be 3 cars battling back here now. Thomas Bressi made up the ground. He's going to be the back bumper to the 20 or the 12 machine rather, side by side down into turn number 3.
LaPrat to the inside. Bressi was looking to the outside. He's going to try to get the crossover off of turn number 4. Nearly gets some contact. Gets a little bit of a wiggle, but he does manage to stay side by side through this tri-oval at the start finish.
Now, Thomas Bressi trying the inside down into turn number 1, trying to make a power move down there. Not going to work that time. By now, they're still going to stay side by side down off of turn number 3. Chuck Sweeting, 26, trying to look for a way around.
Where does he go? Top, bottom, or just wait for maybe for a 3-wide gap? I don't expect that one to happen, but LaPrat trying to hold that outside, maybe get the momentum off turn number 4, but looks like Bressi will be able to slide in front, get the position. Will there be a crossover?
Thomas Bressi maybe going to try to block the move from LaPrat. LaPrat doesn't quite have the momentum that time. By Chuck Sweeting, still kind of hanging back there, watching closely, see what these guys are going to do. Now LaPrat ducks it down to the inside.
I don't know if that's going to work, but it looks like it might. Big wiggle from Bressi off turn number 4, but not enough to lose the momentum. He does still manage to clear the number 12. LaPrat dives it in, nearly took a shot at the back bumper of the 24. Here comes Sweeting with a look to the inside.
LaPrat really pushed it down into the corner in turn 3. That hurt him. Now around goes Briar LaPrat, spilled through the grass. He saves it.
Very good save by LaPrat. Let's go on board here on PTR TV replay and watch that live from his perspective. You can see here he is taking the high groove as Sweeting is taking a look to the inside at this moment. You can just a little bit too much throttle, and he does a very good job not overcorrecting it. Does go through the grass, but manages to save it and continue.
Chuck Sweeting trying to close into the back bumper of Thomas Bressi. Bressi had a very big wiggle down off of turn number 2 that last time by, but manages to keep it going. Chuck Sweeting now trying to get up to him, but it looks like he's falling off the back bumper just a little bit.
Yeah, he may have used what he had, or maybe his Bressi might just be a little bit too fast for him. We do not know that, but we can see that going on, and we'll focus back on the leader just for a brief moment, let you know what's going on up there. Massey has accomplished a 2.25 second lead over Begunia. He's running, actually at this moment, they're running about identical laps. I wonder if he's backed off, or maybe the tires have kind of ran out. Remember the tire differential? It'll cost him.
Yellow is on the speedway.
Is this
front straightaway? Looks like Briar LaPrat bringing out the yellow flag. Big impact to the outside wall.
All right, let's dig back on the replay again and try to establish what happened to LaPrat. We're going to go back a little bit further there. We'll follow him through turns number 3 and 4. And he is just, you can see he just got loose in the center, and I just don't think he ever corrected it. He got loose, and that time he did overcorrect just a little bit, and that will eliminate that number 12 car from contention in tonight's race, most likely.
Well, Corey, we tend to see it a lot in the Hardline Racing League. Just when you thought there couldn't be a caution, there is.
Yeah, you don't see it coming from a hole in the wall because this race was clean. We don't have too many cars around on the track, but you never know. These kind of things can happen. It is not an easy combination here on the speedway with the way the races, but with the way the cars are driving. So here we are with the yellow flag, and all the lead lap cars will come to pit lane.
So boy, oh boy, well this really throws a curveball at these guys. We'll see who the faster car is off the restart here. They'll be on even strategies now.
Yes, they will. We'll see who does have the better car, the 12, the 48, or the 7, or maybe Sweeting or Bressi. Maybe Hensley can pull something off here with the battling going on. We'll see who gets the race off of pit road. As service has completed, and it looks like Massey will get it. Begunia in second, Sweeting in third, Hensley and Bressi is the race off pit road. And we will wait for the other cars to pit for their lap down pit stops, but let's step away for another commercial break, and we'll be back with you for the finish of tonight's race. Stay with us.
The yellow flag is out. Pit road is now open. Keep your eye on those gauges. We'll give you 4 tyres. 3, 2, 1, now. We're done. Get going.
Welcome back, race fans, here on PTR TV and iRacing Live. These guys stacked up, doubled up, and ready to go back. Green flag racing. Nick Massey in the 48 machine sitting here in the first position. Cole Baguni out there in second. Everybody on equal strategy now. Should be interesting between these two drivers to see who has the faster race car. Pace car getting ready to make that hard left turn down into pit lane. This time by... Off it goes, waiting for Nick Massey to hit the throttle. Off he goes, green flag back in the air.
Yes, he does get a pretty good jump, is able to clear Bagunia on the outside lane. Still a battle going on with the number 5 and the number 26. That is for third position.
So Nick Massey right away with a pretty good jump off the restart. Cole Bagunia still hanging on to the back bumper, however, but advantage goes to Massey down the back straightaway.
Massey does have the advantage, and the battle still goes on for third as a big dive into turn number 3 for Chuck Sweeting. He will clear for third, move Hensley back to fourth, and Bressie to fifth.
Those guys all in a line now. Looks like that battle has ceased, and Chuck Sweeting up to the third position now. Good run for him tonight.
Very good run indeed, but he's going to have to hang on to that third position as Hensley is not done going for it. Closes on the back bumper of the 26 in turn number 2 down the back straightaway and looks a little bit higher than the 26 in 3, maybe trying to cut and get the crossover off turn number 4. I don't think he's close enough to do so.
Heading down the front straightaway now. Looks like it's everyone's still going to stay single file here. Looking back, battle for the third position. Still 3 cars back there. Thomas Bressie right up to the back bumper of Tyler Hensley now.
And Hensley maybe got a little bit loose off of turn number 2. Kind of allowed Bressie to gain even that extra car length on him. But nothing doing for the position as we're going to have 28 laps to go rather this time by. And at this point, Brandon, you can't make a pit stop. Everyone has what they have.
Yeah, absolutely, Corey. So, you know, everybody staying out unless we were to see another caution, which at this point is extremely unlikely. But, you know, I guess you never know.
I mean, it's not likely, but it is possible because we are going to have the hardest racing of the night as Bagunia. This is the closest he's been to Massey, the closest he's been on even playing field in quite some time. Is only 2/10 off the pace.
So Cole Bagunia sitting back there, as Corey said, about 2/10 off the pace, still in striking distance, but we've seen Nick Massey have a fast race car. The question is, how are these guys going to save their tires until the end? We know they need to save their tires, Corey, and it's just going to be a matter of who can do it best.
That is exactly the truth, Brandon. They're going to have to kind of run a happy balance of, okay, I want to run as fast as you, I want to get by you, but If I tried too hard now, you're going to get by me with 10 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's no blocking somebody with fresher tires as you. It never ends well, so these guys really gonna have to conserve their stuff. As
Tyler Hensley repasses Chuck Sweeting in the 26th, and then Thomas Bressi was not close enough to take advantage of that. Bressi will still hang on in the 5th position right now, but is within striking distance, perhaps taking a run on the 26 off of turn number 4 down the front straightaway.
And the 18, Cody Tabor, hard wreck down the backstretch. Not going to bring out a caution, but maybe go back and look at that.
Yeah, we'll try to find it while we have a little bit of a moment. Cut me off, Brandon, if anything of significance happens. Cody Tabor running off turn number 2, hits the wall with a pretty good force there, but did carry on. Just significant right front damage to that machine.
I saw a lot. He spun out down the back straightaway, Corey. Took a heavy hit down to the inside.
Must have been a little bit further back. Maybe we can find that if the second does prevail itself, but still the battle for the lead going on.
Yeah, Cole Bagunia is still within striking distance, but I don't expect him to pull anything crazy quite yet. Still a good number of laps to go in this thing. These guys still got to keep their tires cool.
Yes, they do, and I think we may have it queued up on the replay for Cody Tabor's incident, so we can bring that up. You can see he was trying to run the Larson line there. Same sponsor, unfortunately not the same result. Big impact into the wall, and there goes the impact into, brace yourself for impact there. That was the lick you were referring to. How you like that? Same scheme, but not the same result. How you like that? Actually, with Larson these days, I mean, it kind of is the same result. But
yikes.
Yeah, I'll roast my own driver there. Anyways, there is now 22 laps to go remaining in this race, and the battle for the lead is still quite the one to watch right now. Quarter second of an advantage for Massey. We'll bring up the primetime battle tracker again and try to see who is indeed faster at the moment. And only separated by 2 100ths as nearly into the wall was Bagunia.
So Nick Massey pulled out ahead just a little bit now. Cole Bagunia maybe starting to use up his stuff a little bit more than he'd like.
And Hensley in 3rd and Bressi in 4th, separated by about 0.4 of a second. That is for 3rd and 4th, as I said. And then in the 5th position is Chuck Sweeting in that number 26. And then we have Robert Kenny back on the lead lap in 6th. In 7th, Brian LaPrade after his contact, remember last time, for the first caution of the race in 7th. Simon Thorne's on the racetrack in the 8th position. And obviously Cody Tabor is in the pits after his wall contact on that incident about 15 laps ago.
So these guys, just kind of power through the rest of this race. Not too many more laps to go.
I have a race summary of events tonight. We've run 112 of the 133 on the books here tonight. We've had 4 lead changes and only the 1 caution for 4 laps.
This time by, they will be taking 20 laps to go, and Cole Bagunia falling off just a little bit. Hard to say if he's just trying to save his stuff, Corey, or maybe he used it up too early.
Could very well be either of the 2 options. I wouldn't be surprised because he doesn't want to show his stuff too early. The 20 laps is still quite the amount of time around this racetrack, so he could still be saving his stuff, maybe going for a 10-lap, a 10-lap run.
Cole Bagunia, as I said that, he gained a little bit down the front straightaway once again. It's going to be close to the end here, I'd say, Corey.
Yes, it is, and the gap is still, as we said, not really changing too much. You're not missing anything else on the track right now. If another battle does present itself, we will try to bring it to light, but this is the best battle on the racetrack. Nick Massey is the leader who has led 78 laps tonight, but he still has 19 more, 18 soon to complete in this race. Cole Bagunia, always a front charger in these leagues, trying to get another win. Has yet to be, hasn't been a victory lane in a little bit of time, so he would love to get this win as well.
Absolutely, and We've seen Nick Massey in victory lane once already, not too long ago, and I'm sure he'd love another trip down there. So doing everything that he can right now to make his presence known once again here at Chicagoland.
And Nick Massey won on February 2nd. He won at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, rather, so he was a pretty recent entry into victory lane. But Cole Bagunia has not won since the end of December at the Kansas Speedway, so a little bit of a losing drought for Bagunia, and he will try to end it today, but he is dropping back just a little bit.
Cole Bagunia, a little bit of a wiggle down off turn number 2 that time as well.
And Massey is just squeezing out by about half a tenth each lap on Bagunia. He had him by about half a lap last time by. We'll pull up the lap time graphic this time, see what the guys are running in the top 5, and by 5/1000ths the gap went to Massey. So even still, Massey's just inching away. Then Tyler Hensley on that same vein. He was running the same lap as those top 3 drivers, but he is 2 seconds behind this battle.
Yeah, Tyler Hensley just not quite as fast as those 2 guys tonight. And we know he does have speed, but compared to those 2 out front, just can't hold with him.
Yeah, he just doesn't seem to have the top 2 speed, but he does definitely have the top 3 speed. He's hanging on to that. As Thomas Bressi is in 4th. Chuck Sweeting was closing on him, but has not been able to do anything with him tonight. Biggest mover of the race is actually Simon Thorns at the moment. He has been up 6 positions from his starting spot. And the biggest loser of the top 10 thus far is the number 12 of Brian LaPrade, down 5 spots from his starting position.
Yeah, Brian LaPrade took that heavy hit to the outside wall down the front straightaway, so definitely not going to be able to hold position there.
Bagunia still, he was holding 2 tenths behind behind Massey rather for the longest time throughout this battle, but now the lead has kind of stabilized at about 4 tenths, maybe even as much as 5 tenths at segments on the racetrack.
Nick Massey heading down the front straightaway now, and pretty good gap between him and Bagunia right now. Nick Massey just kind of has to ride at this point, save his stuff, make sure Bagunia can't get back up there.
Yeah, he just kind of has to play defense, and he will do that to the best of his abilities, and I'm assuming even when he does do it, that he's going to be able to run to the correct lines to hold him off, but we will not know that until it happens, as there is 13 coming to 12 laps to go.
So these guys cross the stripe this time by 12 laps to go. Nick Massey took a little bit higher arc that time by. See, should help him on corner exit, a little bit straighter of a shot. Cole Bagunia drifts up the racetrack there.
Yeah, that did cost him just a little bit. The gap was down to about 3 tenths of a second. Now it is up to a hair over 4, so that line did not work for him. He'll have to experiment. It's a little bit of a wiggle off turn number 4 for Bagunia, but it will actually cost him about a tenth.
So things pretty stable right now, Corey, and Nick Massey just kind of riding at this point.
Yeah, he's exactly where he needs to be. He's leading the race. He has the advantage. He is pulling away by just a hair, and he knows what to do. He's been up front this entire race. He just has to put together a couple more clean laps. All the pressure is on Bagunia.
Yeah, Nick Massey saving his stuff, just kind of forcing Bagunia to chase him. And I think Bagunia right now just kind of riding comfortably in 2nd place.
Sweeting has closed a lot on the back bumper of Bressi. Probably gained about 3 car lengths since last we focused on this battle, as Bressi has a wiggle off of turn number 2, but didn't lose any momentum in the process, so Sweeting did not gain anything.
Under 10 laps to go now.
Again, we have 8 cars still chugging around this speedway here. for the Hardline Racing Fast Track Sims Cup Series. They are recruiting for their next season. They have 2 series, one on Wednesday night, the Contender Series in Xfinity, and then obviously our Cup Series on Friday nights, which will always be broadcasted here on Primetime TV for the indefinite future. So if you're looking for a Friday night league, of course, check these guys out at hardlineracing.com. You can get signed up and join these drivers as soon as next race. Car in the wall, that's Cole Bagunia.
Caution on the speedway, Cole Bagunia.
Second place driver in the wall.
No way.
Brandon. You can see he just kicked the rear out, got sideways, and
same thing that Briar LaPrade did. Heavy, not so
and
much heavy impact.
Oh my God! At the very last second, did you see Chuck Sweeting just nearly get collected in that?
That would have been a huge, huge impact.
Look at it. We have to check that out from Chuck Sweeting's perspective, because that was a matter of inches, it looked like, that he got by that.
Wow.
See here, coming to the tri-oval. Oh my goodness.
Chuck Sweeting was still on the throttle. Well, didn't expect Bagunia to come down, I don't think, if he even saw him.
And for Bagunia, Brandon, and first off, let's kind of cover this. We expect everyone to come to pit road this time by. This will leave us 5 drivers in contention, 6 drivers if you count Bagunia, who will do his best to hang on, but expect 4 tires from everyone. I can't really see any kind of pit strategy. You can't really see 2 tires working unless we get an immediate caution. So it's going to be a matter of who is the best driver for about a 2 to 3 lap shootout.
Yeah, so everybody down pit road once again. But Tyler Hensley moves up to 2nd place.
So going back to what I was kind of mentioning a little bit, Brandon, he took the risky, talking about Bagunia, he took the risky approach to that incident there. He tried to save it so he would obviously be able to continue, but instead of maybe saving it into the grass and maybe losing the track position but keeping his car, he tried saving it on the racetrack, which obviously when it bit to the right, that put himself in the wall, which ultimately made it worse than it could have been.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes you don't want to start, but sometimes you don't want to obviously spin in the grass and lose that track position, but sometimes it is worth it if it gives you a clean car in the end. You can see here the 7. Actually, to be honest, it's not really that bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, Nick Massey out front of this thing. I think Nick Massey can just ride pretty comfortably on this restart. What do you think?
Well, we do have Chuck Sweeting, who we know is a fast driver. We also have Thomas Bresci, who hasn't really shown the speed tonight, but we're only going to have to go 3 laps. These drivers can push it as hard as they can, and I'd have to imagine some of these drivers can compete for a couple laps. So I do think the hands are in Massey's favor, but I mean, I would still not count out Sweeting or Bresci.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, that's for sure. Those guys still showing speed in their race cars.
And all it takes is a little bit of wheel spin by Massey, and then maybe allowing Sweeting to get a little bit better run, keep him on the outside, pin him down, and then we're going to have an entirely different race. So we might be getting a little hypothetical, but all of this is definitely possible. We're down the back straightaway. We should, I believe, get the 1 to go this time by, which would give us a 3-lap shootout to end tonight's race. Simon Thorne's in the number 8, in the 8th position. Number 57, he is about to get onto, well, about to get the wave around rather. That'll put him 1 lap down, but shouldn't really have too much effect on the outcome of this race. But I guess if we're going to give our official picks, just to be the underdog, I'm going to go with Chuck Sweeting.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to go with Nick. I'm going to have to go with Nick Massey on this one, Corey, and, well, for obvious reasons so far, but I do like your pick as well.
Yeah. is the easy pick, but we always strive to be a little bit different. You never know what could happen in these races, so we'll see what does happen as we the abbreviated field does get doubled up, stacked up, and ready to go racing here for what will be a 3-lap shootout to end tonight's race.
Stealing my thing.
Yeah, we gotta do
How
what we gotta
dare
do.
you?
Wiggly jiggly, all sorts of squiggly. T-shirts coming. T-shirts coming to a channel near you. If you're interested, please let us know.
And that is dead serious. We do have some T-shirts coming out, folks, for PTR TV. So
solely upon request from the fans. So if you have any interest, we have a couple of designs we're working on. So you can hit up our graphics affiliate with the channel, Brandon. So, but we are ready for what is going to be the last couple lap shootout here at Chicago. Take them away, Brandon.
So pace car will make its way down into pit lane, this time by Nick Massey. Gonna lead the remainder of the field to the green flag for the final time tonight. Pace car makes that hard left turn down into pit lane now. Now Nick Massey on the throttle for the final time tonight. Green flag is in the air.
That is exactly what Massey needed. He got the jump he needed, and Bressie is going to be battling side by side with Chuck Sweeting for a second. That will allow him to pull away, but Massey may clear. I'm sorry, but Sweeting may clear.
Not quite yet. Thomas Bressie gonna fight back on the inside. They're gonna be side by side down the back straightaway.
Yes, they are. The big dive for the 24 on the inside into turn number 3. He'll pull door to door, but will he be able to hold it off corner exit? That is the question. And off of turn number 4, we'll find the answer. No, he will not. Pulls back in the line.
Just 2 laps to go for Nick Massey.
Cole Begunia doing the best he can to fight for the positions he can with the damage he does have. He is in 6th, trying to get under Robert Kenny for the 5th position here, but still your leader coming to the white flag is still Nick Massey.
Tyler Hensley making a move underneath Thomas Bressie back there.
Taking it to the inside groove is the number 5 machine off of turn number 3 and 4. Trying to go side by side with Bressie off forward, is not able to, but the white flag is in the air.
Boy, let me tell you, as Cole Begunia goes to the grass, he saves it down on the racetrack, but as these guys head down the back straightaway, let me tell you, Nick Massey has been sitting on a rocket ship all night tonight. Strategy played, but even when these guys ended up on equal strategies, he showed that he had the fastest cars tonight. Now heading down the front straightaway, your winner here tonight in the Hardline Racing Cup Series, Nick Massey.
48 machine in dominating fashion wins tonight's race for the Hardline Fast Track Sims Cup Series at Chicagoland on PTR TV. Chuck Sweeting 2nd and Thomas Bressie finished in 3rd. We offer our congratulations to the 48 of Nick Massey. Step away for the post-race show, so stay with us. We'll be back with you for some post-race interviews.
I grew up in Northern California. My parents were just really big race fans and took my sister and I to, sprint car races pretty much every Friday and Saturday night. So I did outlaw kart racing from 7 till I was 14. And then that's when I got into 360 and 410 wing sprint cars. There's just something about dirt racing that's just, you can't get anywhere else. I enjoy going back to race them whenever I can. I get to run, about 20 to 25 dirt races a year and try and, put on a show every time I'm there.
Battle for the lead. Kyle Larson to the inside of Shane Stewart. Slide job, no. Larson unable to complete the pass. He'll follow Shane Stewart down the back straightaway. Stewart makes the move to the inside of Craig Kinster. Kyle Larson goes around the outside out of turn 4. You've got a new race leader. Kyle Larson from 9th leads on lap number 23.
I'm probably just a little more relaxed, I guess, at the dirt track just because it's for fun, where the NASCAR stuff, it's points racing and a lot bigger sponsors and stuff.
And we're back here on PTR TV for the post-race show after the race has just ended, the round of 8, round number 2 for the Hardline Fast Track Sims Cup Series at Chicago. We will start the post-race show with interviews, and the first one will be third place of Thomas Bressy. All right, Thomas Bressy, you come home tonight with a third place finish here after what was an extremely long green flag run, but a couple cautions that kind of interrupted the end there. So all in all, how was your race?
Spent a lot of time looking out the right side window. It was a handful, but yeah, just tried to manage my tires a little bit, tried to stay with the car. It was definitely a handful, definitely more so I'd say through 1 and 2, but yeah, that's pretty much, that was the story of my night. Just it was a massive handful, so just fought with it all night and got what I could, and had to get decent points tonight after last week, and was able to do that, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, we saw Massey kind of walk away with the show, and we saw a little bit of tire strategy, at least for the first couple stops. We saw some drivers pitting early, some drivers pitting late. What were you on, and did you kind of have that planned out if it did go green all the way?
Yeah, Tyler and I were trying to pit, like, we had the race divided up. We were going to do 3 stops, pretty much even, like 33 lap, 34 lap runs, pretty much, so like 33, 66, 99, and then I think we'd like just done our last pit stop. We were getting ready to do our last one. Yeah, we were like just before our last pit stop, and that first caution came out. So it didn't really throw off our cycle at all that much, but that's kind of what we were going for. There's some people that obviously, as you saw, that were doing, you know, they were stopping earlier, and then I know Massey, he ran. I think he ran his tank out. I think we probably could have done like 40 laps. We were just thinking it'd be better to kind of split it up evenly, but he had the car to pretty much do whatever he wanted, so I can't fault him for that.
All right, so you take home the third place finish, get the good point stay heading into the big race at Richmond next week to lock into the championship 4. So who do you want to give your shout outs to tonight?
Just congrats to Nick on the win. It was well deserved. Congrats to my teammate Tyler for his good effort in the 4th place finish tonight. I want to thank you guys for doing the broadcast as always. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. Hope you all enjoyed the race. Shout out to all the Hardline guys that are down in Daytona. Hope you guys are enjoying races down there. And thank you to Cody Tabor for what he does for the league and putting this on for us.
All right, thanks for that, Thomas, and hopefully we'll talk to you next week. Congrats on the 3rd.
Thank you, guys.
And we will grab Chuck Sweeting and bring him into the booth. All right, Chuck, after tonight's long race at Chicago, you come home with a 2nd place finish. We heard a lot about the track being very difficult to get around tonight. What was your experiences?
Yeah, it was tough. It was slick out there. You had to really save the right rear, be super soft on the throttle on exit, and I was pretty good with that on the long run, but I didn't have anything from Nick there on the short run at the end, but gave it all I had. But good job to him for the win.
Yeah, we saw obviously with all the green flag stops in the beginning, a lot of different strategies were played. Did you have a strategy played out for a green flag race, or were you kind of calling that on the fly?
No, I knew what the mileage was before the race, so I was kind of going to do 34 or 33 laps, like I think pretty much most of the guys were anyway. But and my strategy next time is going to be not to slide through my pit box again.
Yeah, that's obviously not what you want to do, but you salvaged with all the attrition and what have you, salvaged a 2nd place finish tonight. So who do you want to give your shout outs to?
Well, I want to thank Chevy Performance for coming on board. We haven't even, we just switched over to Chevy this week and haven't even had time to paint the car yet, but they're supporting the team, so thanks to them. Thanks to Cody and with the league, and puts on a good show with Hardline. And you guys do a great broadcast every week for us and for a lot of other leagues, and it's a lot of fun to watch you guys, listen to you guys too.
I appreciate that, man, and again, congrats on your finish, and maybe we'll talk to you next week.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, and Brandon will talk to tonight's winner, Nick Massey.
down here in victory lane. He's out of the race car now. Your winner here tonight at Chicagoland Speedway, Nick Massey. And Nick, how do you feel?
Tired, man. That thing was, I had to handle that thing and handling the car for 133 laps, but pretty pumped, you know, second win in the Cup Series and Hardline.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw you get your first one a little bit earlier, and actually not too long ago this season. And man, you were wheeling the race car around when that last caution came out, and you had Cole Bunia starting right next to you. What was going through your mind?
I knew it was going to be, you know, tough to hold him off, because the first run, you know, he pretty much stayed with me the whole run. He was within half a second, and neither of us could really, you know, gain or lose on the other guy. So I knew it was going to be a matter of, you know, just getting a clean start and not getting loose or making mistakes off the corner. I knew if he got by me, it was going to be really tough to pass him back.
Tell us a little bit about that strategy, Nick. Obviously, it was way off of what everyone else is doing. What made you think to try to pull that one?
I don't know, you know, I mean, it's just kind of what I usually do, you know, people pit, and then I usually stay out you know, as long as I can, really, but I kind of did the math after that first stop there, and, you know, it was still going to be a 3-stop race regardless of the strategy that I pulled, so I came out of the pits there like 17 seconds or so behind Cole, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to run it back down, so I kind of thought, you know, that strategy was going to bite me this time, but I was able to run them back down and kind of get back on a similar strategy to what they were, so it kind of worked out in the end.
Well, you come home with a victory here tonight. Definitely worked out. Is there anyone that you'd like to thank or give a shout out to here tonight?
Yeah, just thank my teammates. They couldn't make the race tonight as they're getting ready for the 500 tomorrow. They're actually down there, so Josh and Jake. Other teammate Chris, who couldn't make it either. Shout out to Cole, you know, it was fun racing tonight, you know, we were making each other work pretty hard there. Yeah, my buddy Cash, and you guys too for putting on the broadcast.
All right, Nick, awesome job tonight. Congratulations, your winner here tonight at Chicagoland Speedway, Nick Massey.
Thanks, have a good one.
All right, so that is the interviews of the top 3 drivers. So we'll wrap up coverage tonight with the final rundown here from Chicagoland Speedway. Your victor, as we just spoke to, was Nick Massey in the 48. Chuck Sweeting finishes 2nd, Thomas Bressie 3rd, Tyler Hensley in 4th, and then rounding out the field is Robert Kenny in 5th, Cole Begunia in 6th, then we have Bri LaPrade, Simon Thorns, Cody Tabor, and Frank Hartley, and I'll just finish it off for you, Brandon. We have Glenn Bowe in 11th, Shane Tarrant in 12th, and those were the last 12 drivers who took time today. Hartz and Douglas did not make the grid.
So, as always, we wouldn't be able to do these broadcasts without our channel partners, starting off with Movement Fabrications, a family-run business formerly established in 2012. With over 25 years of experience in the ventilation industry, we offer a wide range of services. This includes ducting, ventilation, extraction, and canopies. If you're in the Nottingham, UK area, Movement Fabrications is a ventilation service to trust. Also, Krutz Custom Graphics, custom racing shirts, hero cards, paint schemes, and much more. From local racers to big race teams, we've got your back. Based out of upstate New York, Krutz Custom Graphics is a motorsports design specialist. Also, iBog iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics, custom graphics, coding, and theme design for iRacing's 2 main overlay systems, ATVO and IRTVO. If you're a broadcast company looking to make your channel shine with custom overlays, talk to Jason Allison with iBog iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics. And of course, a huge shout out to iRacing, allowing us to have this great service here tonight, in which we are broadcasting on. So big shout out to them and thanks to them. And also be sure to check out our Patreon to keep broadcast quality high and costs low for league owners. We need a little help from the fans. Check out our Patreon at patreon.com/PTRTV. If you become a Patreon, you get rewards that vary depending on how much you donate. Become a Patreon at patreon.com/PTRTV.
You were doing so well, Brandon. It's become a Patreon. No, look at I'm doing it. It's become a patron on Patreon. There we go. Also, a shout out to our camera specialist, TrackCams 4 Gourmets. TrackCams 4 Gourmets. Talk to Estevan at facebook.com. Oh my God, facebook.com/TrackCams and TrackCams22.com. That's how you know it's the end of a broadcast. But that is another broadcast here on PTR TV. We brought you coverage of the Hardline Racing Contender We
Cup
brought you the
Series.
Hardline Racing Cup Series. This is the end of a broadcast. Thanks for tuning in to tonight's coverage on PTR TV and on iRacing Live. Signing out of the booth tonight is Brandon Krutz and Corey Silva. Have a great night, and we will catch you next time.
Have a great night. Catch you next time.